Welcome back, everyone. We're diving back into the world of the 108 Divya Desams today.
Ah, yes, these sacred Vishnu temples, praised by the Aswars.
It's amazing to think about their significance throughout history and even today.
Exactly. And today, we're focusing on a location that's particularly captivating, Sholingur.
Also known as Gatikachalam.
Right. It's a place that's overflowing with history, mythology, spiritual significance, you name it.
I was really intrigued when I started researching this one. The fact that it has multiple names, Gatikachalam, Sholingapuram, it makes you wonder about all those layers of history.
Yeah, each name kind of adds another piece to the puzzle.
So let's start putting that puzzle together. Where should we begin?
Well, let's start with Gatikachalam itself. It translates to timeless hill.
Timeless Hill. Okay, I can see how that fits in with this whole journey we're on, exploring these ancient temples.
And the name itself comes from a story about Lord Narasimha.
Of course, the deity of this particular Divya Desam. I'm ready to hear this story.
So the story goes that Lord Narasimha appeared before Prahlada and the Saptarishis within a Gatika, which is a unit of time, and granted them moksha liberation.
So the name Gatikachalam points directly to this incredibly significant spiritual event.
Exactly. It's right there in the name itself.
That's powerful.
Eh.
Okay, but what about the name Sholingapuram? Our sources connect that name to a Chola king establishing a Shiva temple there.
Ah, yes. The Sholasvara temple. You've hit on a point of debate, actually. A Shiva temple in a Divya Desam dedicated to Lord Vishnu. It's pretty unusual.
Yeah, that doesn't quite seem to fit.
Right. So some scholars believe that Sholingapuram, which eventually became Sholingur, actually comes from Cholasingapuram, meaning city of the lion god.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense given the context.
Yes, it connects it directly to Narasimha, who is often depicted in lion form.
So it's like the very name of the town itself reflects this fascinating interplay between Shaivism and Vaishnavism.
Absolutely. A lot of layers to unpack there.
And speaking of layers, Schellinger's landscape itself adds another dimension to this whole thing.
You're talking about the two hills.
Yes, Piriyamalai and Chinnamalai. Our sources describe them as being quite prominent features dominating the town.
They're more than just geographical features. They're integral to Sholinggur's sacred identity.
So tell me more. What's the significance of each of these hills?
Well, let's start with Piriyamalai, the big hill. It's home to the Yoga Narasimha temple.
Okay, so that's where we'd go to actually worship Lord Narasimha at this Divya Desam.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
And to reach the temple, you have to climb a grand staircase of 1,000 steps.
Wow, 1,000 steps. That's quite a climb.
It really is. Imagine the devotion and effort that went into building that staircase.
It's a testament to the people who built it.
Mm.
And I can only imagine that view from the top, looking out over the town and the surrounding landscape. What an incredible experience.
Now, for Chinnamalai, the small hill, it has its own unique significance. There you'll find a four-armed yoga Anjaneya.
Four-armed. Okay, that's different.
Yes, it's a unique depiction of Anjaneya.
Yeah.
And he's facing the Narasimha temple as if standing guard.
That's such a powerful image.
It really is a symbol of devotion and service.
It makes you think about that unwavering loyalty Anjaneya had for Lord Rama. And here it seems to extend to Lord Narasimha as well.
Exactly. It's a beautiful representation of that connection.
Now, here's something that I found interesting when I was doing research for this deep dive. Unlike a lot of the Divya Desams, Sholingur doesn't have a traditional Sthal-Puranam.
You're right. That is unusual.
It's missing that typical origin story or legend that so many of these temples have.
A Sthal-Puranam usually details the specific events and mythology behind a temple's creation.
So it's like the temple's own biography in a way.
Yes, exactly. But in the case of Sholingur, its significance is woven through a collection of stories and hymns rather than one dominant narrative.
So it's less of a singular origin story and more like a tapestry of interconnected tales.
Precisely. Each one adding a layer of depth and meaning to the location.
Okay, that makes it even more intriguing. So what are some of the key stories that stand out in this tapestry?
Well, one captivating story tells of King Indratyumna. He was a hunter, but after a moving encounter with a pleading deer, he gave up hunting altogether.
That's quite a transformation.
It is, and later the four-armed Anjaneya we talked about is said to have aided him in battle.
Wow, so that helps explain why the deity is depicted in this unique form at Sholingur.
It's a beautiful example of Anjaneya's unwavering compassion and his willingness to protect those who turn away from causing harm.
It also reminds us that even powerful figures like kings can experience these profound transformations on their spiritual journeys.
Absolutely. And then there's a tale that speaks to the divine origins of Piriyamalai itself. It's said that King Indra asked Balarama to press down the rising hill.
To press down the hill. Why would he do that?
It's a hint at the hill's connection to the celestial realm, its divine origin.
It's fascinating how these stories interweave earthly events with the actions of gods and celestial beings.
It gives us a glimpse into the worldview of the time.
Are there any other tales that we should know about?
Oh, there are several more that add to Sholingur's rich tapestry of stories. One speaks of Brahma cleansing himself in the Brahma Tirtham after Shiva tore off one of his heads.
Okay, that's a pretty intense image.
It is. And another tells of the sage Valmiki performing penance at one of the Tirthams for 87,000 years before receiving divine instruction to write the epic Ramayana.
87,000 years, that's almost beyond comprehension.
It speaks volumes about the spiritual weight and significance attributed to Sholingur.
It really does. These stories pass down through generations. They paint this picture of Sholingur as a place where the boundaries between the earthly and the divine become blurred.
A place where profound transformations can occur.
It seems like Sholingur is a place that invites you to look beyond the surface and delve into this rich tapestry of stories, each one offering a unique perspective on its sacredness.
Exactly.
But it's not just the stories that highlight Sholingur's significance. There's also this strong belief in the healing power of Lord Anjanya at this site.
Especially when it comes to mental afflictions.
Yes. That really struck me as I was researching this one.
It's quite compelling. There are accounts of people who are thought to be possessed by evil spirits. They would experience frenzied behavior in the temple, followed by unconsciousness.
And then what?
And then, remarkably, a return to sanity.
That must have been quite a sight to witness.
It speaks to the deep faith people had in Lord Anjaneya's power to heal.
And it wasn't just possession either. People sought cures for all sorts of illnesses by spending time in the town, visiting the temple, believing in divine intervention through dreams.
It highlights a different understanding of the mind-body connection than we might have today.
It's a powerful reminder of the role faith and belief play in the healing process.
Regardless of the specific explanation.
It speaks to that profound connection people felt with the divine in this sacred space.
Absolutely. And within that context of unwavering faith, there are stories of two particularly devoted individuals connected to Sholingur that we should explore, Arumbi Appa and Dodacharyar.
Their stories are incredibly moving. So let's delve into those next as we continue to unravel these layers of devotion and history that make Sholingur such a captivating Divya Desam.
Sounds good. They really embody that unwavering faith that we see throughout Sholingur's history. Let's start with Arumbi Appa. He was a staunch devotee of Lord Narasimha.
Okay, a dedicated follower.
He poured his devotion into composing the Amirtha Palavali Satakam. It's a collection of 100 verses praising the deity.
100 verses?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Imagine the depth of devotion it must have taken to craft such a beautiful tribute.
It's a testament to his faith. And then we have Dodacharyar's story, equally touching. He was a dedicated follower of Lord Vardaraja of Kanchipuram.
Another dedicated devotee.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So his story speaks to the lengths some would go to experience the divine. Due to his age, Dodacharyar was unable to attend the Gardotsavam festival at the Kanchipuram temple.
Oh no, he couldn't make it.
But miraculously, Lord Vardaraja allowed him a glimpse from afar, a gesture that is commemorated to this day at the Kanchipuram temple.
Wow, that's amazing. It's almost as if the Lord himself recognized Dodacharyar's devotion and made sure he wasn't left out.
It speaks to the power of faith and the belief that the divine can intervene in our lives.
It seems like Sholingur attracts and inspires these profound displays of faith. But it wasn't always a haven of peace and devotion, was it? Our sources mention a rather unexpected historical event that unfolded there, the Second Battle of Carnatic in 1781.
Ah, yes. A reminder that even sacred sites can be touched by conflict. Sholingur found itself caught in the crossfire between the British and Hyder Ali. It became a battleground for a brief but significant period.
A battleground. That's quite a contrast to the tranquil spiritual atmosphere we typically associate with a Divya Desam.
It is today a memorial stone near the Srinivasa Pushkarini tank stands as a reminder of the fallen Muslim warriors from that battle.
It makes you think about the ebb and flow of history, how even these sacred sites can be caught up in the events of the world.
It's a reminder that these places have witnessed so much over the centuries.
So much more than we can even imagine. Speaking of history, what other evidence do we have that confirms Sholingur's significance throughout the ages? What else points to its enduring legacy?
Well, that's where epigraphic evidence comes in. It offers us glimpses into Sholingur's past. Inscriptions found near the tank date back to the reign of Chola King Parantaka, specifically to his 9th year of rule.
Okay, So we're talking about tangible evidence that connects Sholingur to a specific period in history and a powerful ruling dynasty, the Cholas.
Precisely. These inscriptions mention a gift for the tank's upkeep, indicating its importance even then.
So it's clearly a place of significance even back then.
And there's another inscription on a boulder in the Anjaneya temple that refers to an event during the reign of the Vijayanagara king Ramadeva Maharaya of Penugonda.
It's amazing to think about. These inscriptions aren't just faded markings on stone. They're voices from the past offering us a direct link to Sholingur's enduring legacy.
It's fascinating, isn't it, to think about the people who carved those inscriptions, the events they witnessed, the stories they sought to preserve.
It's like holding a piece of history in your hand. It makes you realize how much these places have seen and how much they hold within them.
Absolutely. But to truly understand the heart of Shollingur's spiritual essence, we need to turn to the hymns sung by the Aswars, particularly Pe Alvar and Thirumangai Alvar.
Their words offer a direct window into the devotional experience at Sholingur. They paint such vivid pictures with their language, evoking the presence of the divine. What stood out to you in their hymns about Sholingur?
Well, Thirumangai Alvar's descriptions are particularly striking. He describes the Lord as Thakan, meaning patient and kind, and Akarakani, sweet like sugar cane, highlighting his radiant presence on the hilltop.
Akarakani, sweet like sugar cane. It's almost as if you can taste the sweetness of divine grace that he's referring to.
Exactly. It goes beyond literal sweetness. It speaks to that overwhelming, blissful experience of encountering the divine. He also calls the Lord the eternal glowing light on top of the hill, and later describes him as glowing like a golden mountain. These images create such a sense of awe and wonder.
You can almost visualize the scene with the setting sun casting a golden glow on the temple, the Lord radiating divine energy. It's no wonder Thirumangai Alvar felt so profoundly moved by this experience.
It's a truly evocative description. And then we have Pe Alvar, who takes a more introspective approach, directly addressing the listener in his hymns.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
He practically pleads with us to contemplate the Lord at Gadakachalam, even if just for a moment.
It's like he's saying, hey, you, take a moment to pause and recognize the immense divine mercy that's available to you right here.
It's a call to action, a reminder to connect with the divine.
And what else does he say?
He goes on to emphasize that it's through the Lord's boundless mercy that we're saved from our wrongdoings. He also speaks of the blessings that flow from such contemplation, mentioning sharp intellect and a clear mind as gifts from the Lord.
It's interesting how he connects spiritual growth with mental clarity, suggesting that by focusing on the divine, we can achieve a state of inner peace and understanding.
It's a beautiful concept. These hymns remind us that the Divya Desams are more than just historical sites. They're living, breathing centers of faith, where devotees can still experience the power of these ancient words and connect with the divine in a profound way.
They offer us a roadmap, a way to approach the divine and seek solace and guidance in the Lord's presence. And it brings us back to that intriguing detail we mentioned earlier, Sholingur's lack of a traditional Stalapuranam.
You're right. Perhaps the absence of a single fixed origin story contributes to Sholinger's unique character. Instead of one dominant narrative, we have this rich tapestry of tales, each offering a different perspective, a different lesson, a different way to connect with the divine.
It's like a choose-your-own-adventure for spiritual seekers. Each story, each hymn, each inscription adds to the intricate puzzle that is Sholingur.
It's a beautiful thought. Maybe the message embedded in Sholingur itself is that there are multiple paths to the divine, multiple ways to experience grace, multiple stories waiting to be discovered.
It's a message of inclusivity, welcoming devotees from all walks of life with their own unique stories and experiences. And speaking of unique experiences, there's one more layer to Sholingur that I'd love to unpack. The inscription, mentioning a gift from King Parantataka.
Yes. It's more than just a simple act of generosity. It hints at a fascinating power dynamic at play during that time.
So tell me, what's so fascinating about this inscription? What does it reveal about the power dynamics of the time?
Well, it mentions a Ganga feudatory named Prithvipati II.
A Ganga feudatory, so someone outside of the Chola dynasty.
Exactly. He was also known as Hastamala, and he was the lord of the Banas and Paravipura.
Paravipura, where's that?
It might be present-day Vilupuram.
So we're not just talking about a Chola king making a donation. We're talking about a ruler from another dynasty, a Ganga feudatory involved in this Vishnu temple under Chola rule.
It adds another layer to the story, doesn't it?
It really does. This inscription suggests a complex web of relationships between the Cholas and their feudatories, even those from different regions.
It highlights the extent of the Cholas' influence and the intricate political and religious landscape of the time.
It's like we're piecing together a historical jigsaw puzzle. And this inscription reveals a crucial piece that connects different regions and dynasties.
Exactly. And it ties back to that name we discussed earlier, Chola Simhapuram, the city of the lion god. Remember how the Chola kings used a fierce lion as their emblem?
Yes, it symbolized their strength and kingship. It's fascinating how those symbols intertwine with religious beliefs.
Precisely. By calling Sholingur Chola Simhapuram, they might have been drawing a parallel between the Chola kings and Lord Narasimha, both embodying this powerful lion energy.
It's a brilliant connection. It suggests they were intentionally linking the divine power of Lord Narasimha with the earthly power of the Chola dynasty. It adds a whole new dimension to Scholingur's symbolism.
It certainly makes you think about the messages they were trying to convey through these connections. And speaking of messages, we can't end this deep dive without revisiting the heart of Sholingur, the awe-inspiring presence of Lord Narasimha atop Peria Malay.
1,000 steps leading up to the timeless hill. I can only imagine the anticipation and devotion that must build with every step.
The sources describe a truly transformative experience. The cool air, the panoramic views, the feeling of being closer to the heavens. It all sets the stage for a profound encounter with the divine.
And then there's the Lord himself, Yoga Narasimha, depicted in a peaceful pose, radiating both tranquility and strength.
It's a powerful reminder that even in his fierce form, Lord Narasimha is ultimately a protector, a dispenser of grace.
It's as if all the stories, all the history, all the hymns we've discussed converge at this point, culminating in a moment of pure devotion, a sense of connection with something much greater than ourselves.
It's a timeless experience, echoing the very meaning of Gatakachalam. And that, I believe, is the true essence of Sholingur. It's a place where time seems to stand still, where history and faith intertwine, where the divine becomes tangible, and where every step taken is a step closer to the sacred.
What a journey this deep dive has been. We've uncovered layers of history, explored captivating mythology, and witnessed the power of devotion through the words of the Oswars. Sholingur is truly a treasure trove of spiritual richness.
It certainly is. And as with all the Divya Desams, I have a feeling we've only just scratched the surface. Sholingur holds layers upon layers of meaning waiting to be discovered.
It's a reminder that our exploration doesn't end with this deep dive. It's an invitation to delve deeper, to seek out those hidden connections, and to experience the magic of Sholingur for ourselves.
So what will your connection to Sholingur be?